May we please take our seats? Honorable Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo, Mr. for Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, and the whole team, management and the team from the ministry. Ambassador Dr. Kosiluka, the Chief Secretary of the government, Principal Secretary, the President's Office, Majura Mahendega, Excellencies, Your Excellency Dr. Ahmad Al-Badawi Mohamed Faki, Ambassador of the Union of Comoros and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, heads of diplomatic missions and international organizations, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Excellencies, in the spirit of friendship, allow me to once again welcome you to the State House here in Chamwino, Dodoma, to our annual diplomatic gathering. I'm not sure if this time we call it a Shweri party or just a gathering. The first ever to be held here in our capital city. Thank you for honoring my invitation. And as we begin 2026, I extend my warmest wishes for the new year to you and the global leaders you present. I'm aware that there are high commissioners, ambassadors, and representatives of international organizations who have joined the diplomatic community since our last gathering. I warmly welcome you and assure you of my personal and the government's full support during your tour of duty in the country. Excellencies, we meet at a time when the international environment remains complex. Conflicts persist, economic uncertainty continues to affect many societies, and climate shocks are increasingly frequent and disruptive. In such a world, Tanzania remains firmly convinced that dialogue, cooperation, and multilateral solutions are indispensable, and the value of diplomacy is not ceremonial, it is essential. The past year has been impactful and one of profound transition, not only for us, but for our neighbors and allies. In memoriam, we pause to honor the prominent global icons who have passed away this last year. Their contributions to development will forever be etched in our history. We extend our deepest condolences to their nations while their legacies challenge us to lead with greater purpose. On the other hand, we have witnessed the wind of change, and we have watched with keen interest the various elections across our continent. We congratulate the newly elected governments in our brotherly nations. Tanzania stands ready to work with these new administrations to strengthen African Union's vision of an integrated and prosperous continent. We note with satisfaction the prevailed democratic resilience across the globe. Despite our own challenges, we celebrate the peaceful transition of power seen in friendly nations abroad, including some of your own countries. Their success provides us with a roadmap for our own institutional reforms. As you are aware, diplomacy is deeply rooted in mutual respect, and I wish to take this moment to extend my warmest congratulations to all nations celebrating their national days this month. Tanzania celebrates with you. Your progress inspires our own, and your friendship is a pillar of our foreign policy. Excellencies, The past year was a significant chapter in Tanzania's journey. Economic diplomacy remained central to Tanzania's foreign policy, with government's efforts focused on attracting investment, strengthening public-private partnerships, and expanding priority sectors to drive economic growth, create employment, and promote inclusive development. My administration remains committed to further unlocking our economy by, among other things, empowering the private sector. Looking ahead, we'll pay particular attention to the blue and green economies, logistics, manufacturing, and digital landscape. Furthermore, we are eager to harness our extractive sector, including natural gas, iron, steel, and critical minerals, to drive national development. Excellencies, as you are aware, we successfully conducted our 7th democratic election, achieving a milestone with nearly 44% women representing in the National Assembly, and the election was solely financed through domestic resources. This underscored national ownership, institutional maturity, and the government's commitment to self-reliance in managing democratic processes. Despite these remarkable achievements, with heavy hearts, we acknowledge the challenges of the unrest and violence on the election day and shortly thereafter. Our response was essential to maintain constitutional order and ensure safety of all citizens and diplomatic community. To our partners in the diplomatic community and the foreigners residing here in Tanzania, I express my sincere sympathy for the uncertainty, service disruption, and internet shutdowns you experienced. I assure you, we remain vigilant to ensure your safety and prevent any repeat of such experiences. Excellencies, democracy is a journey of growth. Every political system contains grievances. It is clear that there is no global formula for these unique challenges, and we must afford each other the space to learn and grow with humility. To those who send solidarity and congratulatory messages, we thank you. To those who didn't, we take note of your feedback too. I ask your friends of goodwill to lend their support to our reforms. And to those who may not share our vision, I ask that you at least respect our sovereignty. The voice of Tanzanians has been heard through the ballot box, and that voice must be respected. To foster national healing, or in order to foster national healing, I've undertaken the following steps. 1. Establishment of the Ministry of Youth under President's Office to institutionalize the image of our next generation. But 2. Pardoned 1,787 convicts associated with the unrest and violence of 29th October last year. 3. Constituted an independent commission of inquiry in accordance with our Constitution. And lastly, pledged to establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to proceed our new constitution process. My administration is resolved to use this second term to repair, rebuild, and renew our nation. To my fellow Tanzanians, the discord we witnessed is not who we are. It's not at all. To our international partners, we recognize that stability is the currency of diplomacy. Today, I plead that our path forward will be paved with the stones of justice, dialogue, and a renewed respect for the democratic process. And in this regard, allow me to quote philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, who once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." In this context, As a country, we understand the mistakes of our past, but our eyes are fixed firmly on the future. Excellencies, Tanzania remains one of the Africa's fastest growing economy, with almost 6% GDP growth and inflation maintained at a stable 3.3%. In addition, the national debt continues to be sustainable, with the debt to GDP ratio currently standing at 48.2%, below the threshold of 55% for low-income countries. As for our capital markets, the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange saw market capitalization rise by 34.3%, reaching billions of Tanzanian shilling, about 23,995 by year end. In addition, we have continued to enjoy favorable credit score, B1 from Moody and B+ from Fitch credit rating. This stable outlook signals investors' confidence, lower borrowing costs, and economic resilience, which marks a positive step in building international confidence and attracting more foreign direct investments. We endeavor to ensure continued governance reforms, reducing foreign currency shortages, and improving the tax to GDP ratio. The favorable credit ratings and stable economic outlook led to registration of 927 new investment projects by December 2025, with a combined value exceeding US $11.09 billion, representing a significant 19.03% increase compared to the previous year. The registration of these projects in 2025 stands at the record of the highest number of projects registered in calendar year since the establishment of the Tanzania Promotion Agency, breaking the record of 905 projects last year. On these 927 projects, 66, equivalent to 7.12%, are expansion projects demonstrating sustained confidence by existing investors in Tanzania's growth trajectory and its investment climate. Collectively, the 927 projects are expected to generate more than 162,895 new jobs for Tanzanians, while foreign direct investment FDI remained robust. Local investors' participation also remained strong, with 288 projects, equivalent to 31.07%, expected to be implemented by domestic investors, reflecting growing confidence among Tanzanian entrepreneurs. To our investors, we pledge to ensure the existing and new investments are protected and secured. On the other hand, in 2025, we continued with our industrialization journey, and we have experienced a rise in key economic sectors. The leading sectors include agriculture, of which its productivity continued to grow, with the food self-sufficiency ratio standing at 120% in 2024-25, reflecting a growth of around 3.2% over the period. In mining, we witnessed a further surge in activity, with mineral production increasing by 48.27% from 10.6 trillion in 2023-24 to 15.8 trillion in 24-25. The percent driven largely by gold, coal, building and industrial material. We are leveraging the 47.27% surge in mineral production witnessed in 2024-25 to bolster our national economic security. We now require large-scale miners to refine and sell at least 20% of their gold to the central bank to bolster our foreign reserves. We have also witnessed notable growth in the tourism sector, with receipts rising from 1.3 billion US dollar in 2021 up to 4 billion US dollars in third quarter of 2025. Furthermore, Tanzania was honored as the world's leading safari destination 2025 at the World Travel Awards, reaffirming our standing as a premier global destination for wildlife and nature-based tourism. This recognition attests to our strong commitment to conservation, high-quality service delivery, and suitable tourism development, while further strengthening investor and visitor confidence in Tanzania as a safe, attractive, and rewarding destination. To further promote tourism, trade, and connectivity across the African continent, Air Tanzania expanded its route network in 2025 to key destinations and supporting the growth of intra-African tourism. We remain focused on expanding our connectivity, accelerating infrastructure development, and diversifying tourism offerings as we position Tanzania as a regional hub for tourism, trade, and logistics in Africa. Excellencies, this year marks the launch of Tanzanian Development Vision 2050, or Dira 2050, aiming for double-digit economic expansion through productivity gains in agriculture and industrial value addition. In this regard, we will also prioritize new economic frontiers by unlocking the blue economy, green economy, logistics, and digital landscape. Key focus will also be placed on harnessing natural gas, and our efforts will be geared toward the finalization of the US $42 billion liquefied natural gas project, which will position Tanzania as a major player in the global energy market. On the other hand, the country is building an enabling environment that will attract investment, innovation, and promote local value addition in the critical mineral sector. Our drive will be towards promoting responsible investment that power the technologies of tomorrow, support the global energy transition, industrial development, and ensure direct benefits for Tanzanians. We invite governments, private sector actors, and development agencies to come partner with us in this key sector. My government is committed to managing these resources responsibly, transparently, and inclusively. I note with great enthusiasm the recent G20 endorsement of the critical minerals agenda. Tanzania fully supports this initiative and stands ready to engage actively with international partners to ensure that these resources contribute both global clean technologies and inclusive growth at home. Excellencies, as we all know, to unlock the economy, we need to invest in key infrastructure projects. Work is still going on to ensure completion of the standard gauge railway and the East African crude oil pipeline, which is set for completion in July 2026. The completion of Julius Nyerere hydropower plant and the operationalization of the SGR are not just engineering milestones, but engines of our new mineral economy. We are also putting a strong emphasis on value addition, export capacity, and job creation through the special economic zones by linking infrastructure and industrial ecosystems. Our message is clear. Tanzania is moving from exporting raw potential to exporting the value-added commodities. Within this strategy, ports and trade gateways play a critical role. Furthermore, we are advancing strategic projects, including Bagamoyo and its associated industrial ecosystem, not for prestige